Hey everybody, welcome back to Some Things Fishy. We're glad to have you here. We hope that you're learning a lot and we hope that you've liked our videos thus far. Today we're going to talk about something that's very simple but very, very important in a saltwater fish tank. We're going to talk about the cleanup crew, but more specifically we're going to talk about the best part of the cleanup crew that you can have in your tank. I've been around saltwater fish tanks for a lot of my life. My dad has done saltwater fish tanks for most of his life. And until recently, I didn't really know what the best member of the cleanup crew really was. There's all sorts of different things that you can get as part of your cleanup crew. You can have crabs, and there's tons of different varieties of crabs, snails, tons of different varieties of snails, and tons of other things from starfish to specific fish that act as a cleanup crew. But recently, I was able to come across the best member of the cleanup crew. This might come as a surprise to a lot of you, but I really think that this is the best thing that you can have in your tank to keep it nice and clean. A few months ago, my dad was having a really big issue of algae in his seahorse tank. And we tried tons of different things to get that algae to go away. In fact, I had a ton of algae in this fish tank as well, and I couldn't do anything to get it away. It was just too much. The first thing that we did, as many of you know, was we started to do more frequent water changes. And there was also some chemicals that we purchased that we put in the water as well, and that started to help, but the algae was seriously getting to inches long. It was really bad, and it even started to spread across all of our rocks in the back of our tanks. The first thing that we tried doing was we tried to get a sea hare. A lot of people say that sea hares are really great, and they really are. Within a day, the sea hare in my dad's seahorse tank started to really cut down that algae. It really was like a lawnmower to that algae. It was really cool to see. The issue with sea hares though is that if they get tampered with or if they die, they release toxins that go into your tank and can literally wipe out all the living things in your tank. So although sea hares are really good at cleaning up your tank, especially getting rid of that algae, that's not the best solution. That's definitely not the best member of a cleanup crew if it can literally destroy everything in the tank. In my dad's case, there was some peppermint shrimp that started to pick at the sea hare, and within a few hours after those peppermint shrimp were picking at the sea hare, it started to just release all sorts of toxins. So that was a no-go. That was very scary. And it wasn't even a week later that we discovered something that, in my opinion, is better than any other thing that you can get to clean up your tank. We went to the fish store and we spent $2 on a turbo snail. For those of you who don't know what a turbo snail is, it's basically just a common snail, just maybe 15 times the size. These turbo snails are beefy. They are awesome. They cut through algae, dirt, grime, whatever it is, they clean it up. I love my turbo snail. Within, honestly, a couple weeks of just having one $2 turbo snail in my tank, my algae was completely gone. My dad has a bigger tank. His is about a 34-gallon. Within a couple weeks as well of having 2 turbo snails in there, his algae has been totally cleaned up as well. Now I understand it's a pretty big claim to say that this turbo snail is the best part of a cleanup crew for any tank. I'm claiming a lot with that statement, but let me explain to you a couple reasons why I think the turbo snail is such a good addition to your tank. The first reason that we already kind of talked about is the turbo snail is literally like a couple dollars. You can get a few of these in your tank. If you've got a 50-gallon tank, you can spend like $10 on a few turbo snails and they will keep that tank nice and clean. The next reason why I think a turbo snail really should be considered one of the best aspects and parts of a cleanup crew is that they are so durable. Just like other snails, they just live and they do super well. And the good thing about a turbo snail is that it's bigger than other types of snails, than the small ones that you might get for a couple, for $1 or whatever. These turbo snails are big and they just can't be picked on. They can hold their own. They can go pretty fast and escape crabs or anything that might be picking on them. Honestly, the most important reason that I think the turbo snail should be the best member of the cleanup crew is because they do work. They sit there and cruise around the tank 24/7 and clean up everything. They cut through algae as if it's grass and a lawnmower. They clean up extra food like nothing else. They are such a good addition. They really put the cleanup in cleanup crew. Another reason why I think the turbo snail is such a good addition, if not the best addition to your cleanup crew, is that they're actually really cool to watch. A lot of members of the cleanup crew, like simple crabs, hermit crabs, and snails, they're just kind of boring. They're just there, they don't really do much, they don't look that cool comparatively to other members of the saltwater fish tank realm. The turbo snail though, it's so big and so cool to watch as it's going across the glass and as it stretches to get from rock to rock. It's not like any other snail. It's cooler because you can see it. It's bigger, you can see its mouth, you can see its eyes, you can see its antenna, you can see the formation of its shell. It is a super interesting species to watch go along in your tank. Another reason why I think the turbo snail is a great, if not the best addition to your cleanup crew is that these are docile creatures. I've had some problems in the past with peppermint shrimp and other types of members of the cleanup crew that get pretty aggressive towards other shrimp or other crabs or even snails that eat them or pick at them. The turbo snail is super chill, for the lack of better words. It's a very peaceful animal. It's gonna do its thing, eat its food, clean up here and there, and it's really just a good thing. You don't have to worry about it killing your coral, anything like that. It is great. The last thing that we're going to talk about today in terms of the turbo snail and why it is the best member of the cleanup crew is that these are very accessible animals. You don't have to go to some crazy website from some crazy dealer to purchase one of these turbo snails. Very simple. Most, if not every single one of your local fish stores is going to have turbo snails on hand. They're not crazy, they're not super exotic, so you should be able to find them basically anywhere or on some very simple site for cheap. Alright, so there's one word of caution that I want to leave with you as you're determining whether you want to get a turbo snail or multiple turbo snails in your tank. Keep in mind, these are big and rather clumsy animals. I have had to pick up my corals multiple times. Even the corals that I have glued down onto rocks, these large turbo snails have knocked over. So keep that in mind as you're going to buy one or buy multiple. These things are clumsy. They'll knock over your corals, knock them into the sand, things like that, run them over. I wanted to give you a warning about that. That's really the only negative thing that I can say about these animals. There's nothing negative, nothing bad about them. They do a great job of what they do, and that's why I think they are the best member of the cleanup crew out there. I love them. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We really appreciate it. If you liked this video, like it. Go ahead and go on that little like button, give us a blue thumbs up. We would really appreciate it. Questions, comments, concerns, do you agree, disagree? Leave it in the comments. We would really appreciate that. We'd love to talk to you guys. And go ahead and check out our website, somethingsfishy.com. If there's anything else you need, feel free to let us know. This is Some Things Fishy. Thanks for hanging around. We'll see you next time.